Hello to Rorie Kelly. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Thinking to chat to you again today. So, can you see roughly how long have you been a single songwriter for?
Um, wow. Since I was like 13, that's when I taught myself guitar, and it was because I wanted to be a songwriter. I at the time was like writing poems with melodies, and I was like, I'm gonna need an instrument here, and so technically that makes me a singer-songwriter at 13. I don't necessarily want anyone to listen to any of those songs, but that's when I started writing.
So, do you go into the recording studio when you recorded your debut single?
Yeah, I've been working slowly on an album, and I wrote this Christmas single or holiday single. I try to not make references to a specific holiday. It's seasonal. I wrote this holiday single last week on a whim, and I had a studio appointment the next day. My dad and I record together. He's my recording partner. So I was like, hey, Dad, guess what? We're recording a new holiday single tomorrow. By the way, this is my cat, Kaylee, and she's saying hello.
So, what was it like when you first went to the recording studio when you recorded your debut album called Wish Upon a Bottle Cup?
It was really my first time recording in a grown-up way, like not in my bedroom. And it was with my dad, who has I grew up in his actual grown-up commercial studio where he did, a lot of soundtracking and major label projects. And so he had the experience to do this at a very high level, and I just had like the, you know, 20-year-old, but I know how I want it to sound kind of energy. So it was like a collaboration between the two of us, and I learned a whole lot. And I still love to work with him. There was a while in my 20s where I wanted to just like get into different studios, like learn who I was just as me. And I've really returned to just feeling like he's my recording partner as long as he's around. I love working with him. It's a blessing to be able to have this be a family thing.
Well, what was that experience when you first went to the recording studio?
Um, like there was a lot of learning about the difference between performing live and performing into a microphone that was meant to record rather than like a dynamic live microphone. Like they're pretty different. Like if you're seeing this, you're looking at my microphone on Zoom right now, which is like a studio microphone. Um, and they pick up your voice differently, and you treat them a little differently when you're singing live. You really like have the mic right up to your face. You're not really supposed to do that with a studio microphone. And there are, it's just like a different skill set because you're not playing to an audience. You're not trying to make everyone applaud or be excited. It's just you and the art. And that can be very scary for some people. It's like two completely different kinds of performing, in my opinion.
So, where did you get your inspiration to become a songwriter in the first place? I guess your dad, maybe.
Um, Really, like my parents are both musicians, but I I guess it's just my feelings. You know what I mean? I was like a preteen who was writing poetry before I became a songwriter, and it was just like whatever was going on at the moment, and I always wanted to create. And I actually and I was always singing. There was always singing in my house because everybody sang, and so every now and then we would have like a hoot nanny, and everyone would sing together. We sang a lot of Beatles songs because my dad, for a bunch of years, was in like a Beatles cover duo. And I knew that I wanted to make music, and I knew I wanted it to be my own, so I didn't tell anyone when I learned guitar. And I was just lucky there were guitars in the house, you know what I mean? So I like just kind of took it into my room and played it when nobody was around. Because I didn't want it to be like I didn't want to be influenced. I wanted to have my own voice. You know what I mean?
So, is that a keyboard behind you or piano behind you there?
Yes, I just moved to this apartment recently, and I used to have a actual physical piano. That is not really functional in this space, so a friend of mine just lent me this electric piano, which like literally I set it up 2 days ago, and it's got weighted keys, and a full 88 keys, so it's like better than the keyboard I previously had, and lets me like feel like I am still sitting and playing a piano.
So do you enjoy playing the piano?
I love it. I'm not very good at it. I've played guitar since I was 13. I've attempted to learn piano a lot over the years, and I guess it really stuck during the pandemic where I didn't have an excuse not to practice. So that was what I did. I had two, you know how people have their pandemic hobbies, like people started baking bread or whatever. I decided I was going to learn how to poach an egg and I was going to learn how to play piano. So every day I poached an egg for breakfast, and some days it came out better than others, but now I'm very good at poaching eggs. And then I would sit down at the piano and work on it. And I'm better than I was. It takes time. I'm like a bar piano player. I can like bang something out, but I couldn't play like a classical piece.
Well, they say practice makes perfection, so I'm sure you get there eventually.
I hope so. My only goal with it is to keep getting better and enjoying it. Music. Like I would love to be a music monk where I just lock myself in a tower and get better at playing different instruments. And there's not a lot. It turns out that like you don't get a steady paycheck as a music monk, so I've I can't lock myself in a tower and just play music for the rest of my life. But that's really that's who I am. I just want to sit with an instrument forever.
So tell me what the single is called. What are you wishing for?
Um, so that is the first holiday song I ever wrote, which was for a movie that a friend of mine here on Long Island, Candace Kane, made. This was a few years ago where she decided to make a bunch of holiday movies because she heard that Hallmark was going to be signing a lot of new holiday movies for the year. And she was like, I'm just going to make 100 of them in a year. And I don't know if she hit 100, but she made a bunch of movies that year. And she gave me the opportunity to like write some songs like for the scripts, which was very cool. So I have this holiday EP called Snowflakes and Starlight that is 3 songs that I wrote for her movies. And they really were like, I read the scripts and I like wrote it for the movie. It wasn't just like a song that she liked to put in the movie. It was like made for it. And then recently, I wrote this new single, Make the Yuletide Gay Again. And I just put it out as a standalone last week. And I don't know, I didn't do it right. I just wrote the song and I got into the studio and then like uploaded it to all of the places, and it was a whim. And like writing a Christmas single during the Christmas season is too late. It's like you should be promoting earlier than that, but I was like, no, I just want to put it out, And this year, especially in the States, the LGBT community is really under attack, and I just felt like I really needed to put music out in the world that gave us some queer joy, because when you are dealing every day with fear and dealing every day with this misinformation battle that's happening against you, it's like it weighs and it takes a toll. And I just wanted to put out a single that let us all be like, this is fun. We're just going to be ourselves and experience our joy. And like everyone's invited to that joyful table. You know what I mean? Make the Yuletide gay again. That's the energy.
You also listed an album called Shadow Work. So can you say more about that?
Yeah. I'm an introvert, and I'm someone who believes in doing the work. I'm like that kind of person. I'm a journaler, I'm a nerd, I'm a writer. And shadow work, like as a term, is working with the shadow, which is like a part of our personality that we, as we grow up, put aside. Parts of ourselves that we believe other people won't want to hear about, so we don't talk about them. Parts of ourselves that we believe aren't okay for public consumption, And so shadow work is like integrating those parts and looking at parts of yourself that you have not looked at because you were afraid to, because something made you scared about it, whether it was like some comment that a parent or a teacher or a peer made or something like that. And letting yourself be your full self and having that journey. And so that album, the songs on that album are very introspective. They came after I did a lot of work on myself, like psychologically and a lot of healing. And that was what the album was about. So I decided that was what it was going to be called, Shadow Work.
So you also released a single called Saltwater. So can you tell me more about that?
Yeah. It's it's a very different way from how I usually write. I like to write pretty straightforward lyrics. I like to write about what I'm going through in a way that I hope is relatable to people. I sing about my stuff and other people see their stuff in it, and I'm grateful for that. And Saltwater is like a mysterious song, even to me. I was taking a lot of walks and really getting into like nature spirituality. And I live on Long Island, and we are surrounded, well, we're an island, so we're surrounded by water because that's how islands work. But it's a pretty small island. So it's like no matter where you are, you can get to the beach in like, less than half an hour. So where I lived at the time, I was walking around a lot in the woods, and there was a beach right at the end of the woods. You would kind of like walk a path and find this big, beautiful cliff beach and look out on the Long Island Sound. And it was so special to me to just go to the water. It's always been like very soothing for me, and special to me to like be in nature and just be with myself in a way that doesn't require words. And so I guess that song was me trying to put that into words, like the mystery of nature, the beauty of nature, and just like that call to just be.
At the minute, I'm constantly playing your Crystal Waters song, that single that you released. So can you tell me more about that?
Thank you so much. That means a real lot to me. I never totally know. Like, I put things out in the world, and I'm like, I don't know. Are people hearing it? I'm just one person without a label. I hope so. Yeah, it's I've been telling people when I play that song at gigs, this song is dedicated to your inner child, because that's really what it's about. It's about like reclaiming some of that joy of childhood, not just joy, but like the adventurous feeling of childhood, where you're a little bit protected. And so you can feel like, I'm going to get up and change the world today because you're a kid, and that doesn't feel scary or hard, And I was doing some reconnecting with that part of myself. And it's another one of those times where I needed to write the song. And then as I've shared it, I wrote it, I recorded it, I released it. And I'm like, does anyone really want to hear about about my inner child? And a lot of people have come out and said, I relate to that song so much. I'm so glad you wrote it, So it's not just me, I guess, which is really good to know.
Yeah, it's quite catchy. Once you hear it once, it's a song that you keep on have to play.
Thank you.
So can you tell me more about your latest single called Make the Yuletide Gay Again?
Yeah. Well, I do a lot of holiday music this time of year because it's the holidays. And, during the time a lot of these songs were written, people use the word gay in a different way. People would just, like gay meaning like happy and lighthearted and joyful. But, it was like, don we now our gay apparel, make the Yuletide gay. And I really felt like I've been wanting to write this song that's like, let's make the Yuletide gay, as in like, rainbows and disco. Like, let's make the Yuletide gay, Like, I wanted to make a fun holiday anthem for the LGBTQIA community, and just be inclusive and fun and a little silly. And it's a little bit, there's probably some things in there that could be considered a little bit political, but it's meant to be like calling in, not calling out. It's meant to be like, let's have a good time. Let's make the Yuletide gay. Let's put rainbow lights on the tree, It's meant to be a fun and silly experience.
So are you working on any new music in the near future?
I am in the process of putting something out. I know I'll have some new singles for it in the early part of 2026. I know there's going to be an album. I know what I'm going to call it. I'm not talking about it yet because I know if I say it out loud, I'll change my mind because I know myself. But I don't know when the album will be out because I have learned about that too, that when I say, oh, here's the album release date, I like clockwork, I miss it. It's like something happens in my brain that makes it impossible for me to hit that deadline. But I do know some new singles are coming out in early 2026. I would love to have the album out in 2026. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, never plan that far ahead.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like, what's that expression? Like, men make plans, God laughs. It's that energy.
Bear the moment.
Yes. I'm learning to let myself be in the moment. And I think that's like trying to run your career as an independent musician. I'm sure you know this, as a broadcaster, and I know your show has been in different places, and it's like it's all you. You're the one promoting. You're the one figuring it out, and sometimes you have community and support around you. And but if you want to, you can give yourself a to-do list that is uncompletable because there's always something else you could be doing. And I'm trying to learn how to like let myself live in the moment and let that be enough and let it be about the art.
So, what's it like being an independent artist for you?
Um, the word I want to say is stressful, but I also wouldn't change it. Um, I think I feel really lucky to grow up in an age where the internet kind of grew up along with my generation. I'm a millennial. And so I have opportunities to put my music out there that people, born 20 years earlier than I didn't. And I didn't need for there to be a label or some corporation, pressing a million CDs for me in order for me to get my songs out there. I just needed to be willing to like show up and do what I could and perform and record as best as I could along the way. And like, I think it's a blessing that we have the accessibility now for so much talent to be heard. And people talk about like, I think there's so much new music out there, and people talk about how, oh, new music isn't good anymore, or it's all the same stuff. And it's like the beauty of this internet age is that there is so much more music than whatever you hear like top 10 on the radio, and you can really go find and live a very rich life, exactly the type of music you want, and support independent artists like me who like every single thing makes a difference to us. When one person buys my album on Bandcamp, I send them a personal email and I'm like, thank you. I saw you bought my album. This is so cool. And, a really huge artist like Sabrina Carpenter or Taylor Swift or somebody, I'm sure appreciates their fans, but isn't like losing their mind and personally thanking you about every album. And like, that's the joy of independent artists. You get to be so close, you get to be really connected. And I love that part. Like my community is the friggin' world to me.
So I know you're not got any gigs coming up yet. So can you tell me more about your Twitch? Because I know you're on Twitch.
Yeah, thank you. I am on Twitch on Monday nights, Tuesday morning UK time. I'm here in New York, so I go live like around dinner time, like 7:30 to 9 on Monday nights, which is most of the year, 12:30 to 2 a.m. UK time. And I say that I do songs, stories, and shenanigans. It's a really fun night because there are people who tune in regularly and we all get to know each other. And I don't know what it is, but I attract people with like a wacky, silly goose sense of humor. So, there's a lot of puns in the chat. There's a lot of silliness. And I'm the kind of person who will just write a song on the fly. If someone is like, you should write a song about that, I'll be like, let's do it right now. Last week, a friend of mine who is a regular on Monday Night Muses, it was the first one in December, and he sent me a poem he had written, or he called it song lyrics, but he's a poet, not a musician. So he was like song lyrics, and it was called Don't Leave Santa Cocktails for Christmas. And it was this whole silly story about like Santa getting drunk because too many people left Santa out like a glass of whiskey for Christmas or something like that. And it was ridiculous. And I'm like, Donald, that's his name. His name is Donald Scott. The only Donald I really want in my life right now. I was like, Donald, I just want to sing this. I don't want to just read it. And so I just kind of like put music to it on the spot. And we had such a good time. And that's the energy. It's just like anything might happen. It's called Monday Night Muses. And I absolutely love getting to like get together with my community really around the world that way. I had someone tuned in from Denmark last week. We had someone in Spain a couple weeks ago. It's really wonderful to just have like all kinds of different people able to tune in and connect with the music.
great way to connect with your fans, I guess, around the world.
And it's like, it's special. That's like another thing that I think is special about the internet is they really become friends, you know, like we all get to know each other. And it's like, it's a fun Monday night hangout, you know, it feels so good.
So, getting my listeners, what other social media are you on?
I'm trying to be a lot of places. I am on TikTok. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. I'm on Threads. I'm actually kind of a big Threads fan. I used to be a big Twitter person, and then Twitter kind of went off the deep end after it became X and all of that stuff. And Threads has really like filled that hole in my heart. It turns out I love just saying a sentence or two to the internet and talking that way and being a part of that conversation. There's like a unique personality I think that likes that kind of social media, and I am it. So if you want to see me at my most unhinged, go to my Threads profile, which is Rorie Makes Songs. And Rorie Makes Songs on Threads and Instagram and everywhere else. You can just search my name, Rorie Kelly, RORIEKELLY. I'm on YouTube. That's been kind of fun because it's a little less social. Like I'm trying to figure out how to like grow on YouTube, but it's starting to happen just from me posting like little shorts every day. So that's been interesting.
Thanks for letting me chat to you again today.
What? I'm sorry.
Thank you for letting me chat to you again today.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is so fun.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You as well.
And have a nice Christmas and New Year.
Yeah, you too. Happy all the holidays. Enjoy.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.